Hey everyone, welcome back to this video segment on the North and South nodes. In this video, we are going to talk about if you have your North node in the 8th house or Scorpio and Ophiuchus, which would mean your South node is in the 2nd house or Taurus. So this North and South node stuff is, in my opinion, the most important part of the birth chart. It really does show the life path and, most importantly, where we can implement a bit of free will. And so regardless of what's going on in the astrology at a certain point in time, there is this undercurrent of the nodes that we can exercise that free will and really help bring balance with the area. So hopefully you do find this to be as helpful as I do regarding your birth chart. So down below there is a birth chart calculator if you don't know the house and sign of your nodes. It is using the actual size of the constellation, so you will notice some of the signs are different from mainstream astrology, but that is the most accurate chart in my opinion. Now with this, when you look at the chart, the North node is the N-looking horseshoe, and the South node is the U-looking horseshoe. So if you want to locate that, and again, this video is if that North node is in the 8th house and Scorpio and Ophiuchus, or if it's the, which would mean the South node, which would be the 2nd house or Taurus. All right, so let's take a look at this. So again, this undercurrent with the life path. Now let's start with the South node, which represents a lot of the past. And if you believe in past lives, I'm going to use the analogy of past life to describe this. So the way we often feel this is a bit of oscillation with the South node in particular. So for you, with the South node in the 2nd or Taurus, there is likely this oscillation that you may feel in regards to your self-reliance and in regards to your resourcefulness, and maybe even in regards to finances and things like that on an external level. And this is because, well, what we think, and again, it's just an analogy, but let's say in a past life, there was likely a lot of emphasis on this area. There was probably a lot of themes pertaining to your own self-reliance. Maybe you were very self-reliant. A lot of the past life probably had to do with you needing to rely on your resourcefulness and your steadiness and security to make things happen, really cultivating your inner self-worth, self-value, self-efficacy, the belief in yourself, right? So a lot of this was really on that self-reliance side. And likely because of that, there was external things as a result. Maybe a lot of your life themes were about material security. Maybe you had that material security. Again, just not needing to rely on anyone, you were taking care of it on your own. So with this heavy emphasis here, this is why there's a bit of this oscillation. And so one part of you may want to seek something out, may feel like something's missing from this past life, seeking out more self-reliance, more resourcefulness, more material security, something like this, or it may feel like it's missing, and so you're seeking it out. And then the other side of you may want to avoid it completely and not even deal with the material life or, money or anything like that, and just go into the deeper values of life, the more meaningful, deeper values of life. So there is this oscillation. And so your life path is essentially about bringing balance back to this area, to the area of your resourcefulness. And so the way of going about this is essentially a twofold process. One is practicing non-attachment to your resources and to your self-reliance. Because you'll notice that when you are non-attached to these things or to this approach to things and anything that involves these inner or outer resources, when you are non-attached, you'll notice it does help the energy flow. Because so long as we're attached, we are still sort of caught up into that karmic cycle from the past, which you may notice there's like a bit of a cycle of repeating patterns or even stagnation. And this is because it's very comfortable for you. Your natural default is to do things on your own, is to be self-reliant, is to cultivate, your resourcefulness. And so by becoming aware of this sort of tendency or these patterns and practicing non-attachment to them can really help free you up and really help liberate that area specifically. But again, all areas of life. So that's the South node side to it. So now the other thing is what can also help bring balance to this oscillation is certainly the development of exploring the deeper values of life, Life is going to support you in trying new things and learning about and making mistakes with the deeper side to life. So this can have to do with matters pertaining to life and death, matters pertaining to what truly matters on a core level, matters pertaining to vulnerability and openness in relationships, and fundamentally what I would say is trust in relationships. Because this is really the key difference, is that in the past life, again, it was all self-reliant. And so in this life, it's learning about relying on others and exploring this and developing it. And you likely have already a bit, but it's always going to seem like there's more growth to do with it. You know, in this life, there's always like more to cultivate with it. And so there's no end with it, and there's no real satisfaction with it, in the sense we get to some point that we do get to our deeper values, or we do have healthy dependency. There's always more work to do. So do keep that in mind, but explore it, learn about it, make mistakes with it. Life is supporting you in the journey of exploring these deeper values and of relying on others. So when we say relying on others, we do mean oftentimes with this material security, right? Us astrologers, we do mean material security when we say that, but also when it comes to emotional security, right? So there's really this kind of twofold process of the 8th house, which is certainly, trusting others when it comes to relying on them, maybe financially or materially, just a little bit, not to an extreme, but just a little bit to create some balance. But then there's also, the feeling side to it. So this is why it's so important to get into, the vulnerability and the building of trust in relationships on an emotional level, and building deeper bonds and deeper connections, because that, does require the most amount of trust, I guess, emotionally, right? So really good to practice this stuff, explore it. Again, there's no extreme with it. We want to make sure that we understand that there's no real satisfaction with this stuff. And if you go all into just the deeper values and the deeper aspects of life and relying on others, you'll likely find that to be unfulfilling. In fact, if you look to your past, you'll likely see that there's certain time periods where when you went all into that, it's likely unfulfilling. So know that that's not your path, right? It's not the end of it. It's not about that. It's really about finding balance with your self-reliance, is the way I would describe this. And so it just so happens, though, that to do that, to bring balance to your self-reliance, it is going to require you to go in and explore and develop and make mistakes with relying on others, developing healthy dependency, exploring the deeper dimensions of life, like healing, transformation, psychology, your own deeper fears, going into your own psychology, seeing if there are any, again, patterns. The 8th house is all about being aware of the patterns in our life that we can break free from, which again, oftentimes is rooted in fear. So these kinds of things. And then also healthy boundaries, setting healthy boundaries, because it's not just about getting vulnerable with anybody, right? It's only those that you want to build deeper relationships with. So understanding also the learning about the sort of dynamics of boundaries in relationships as well. So anyways, learning about all this and exploring it, and then feeding all of that back into your self-reliance, right? Because that's what it needs. In order to really be self-reliant in life, or to have healthy self-reliance rather, it does require healthy interdependency. It requires a healthy understanding of our deeper values. It involves healthy, deeper relationships that are about emotional security, right? And even to cultivate the material life, which is, again, the South Node, where you're rooted. Your life path is about bringing balance to your material life. To do that, it requires a deeper understanding of the deeper values and of interdependency and these kinds of things. So at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's balance with the self-reliance, resourcefulness. It's just the process of doing that. We'll be practicing non-attachment to these things. And then learning about and exploring the deeper values and healthy interdependency, because it's all of that that is exactly what your self-reliance and resources need, more than likely. All right, so hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please comment down in the comment section. Now on the page, there is a discount for 20% off for readings. So if you do want to get deeper into your specific life path, do check that out. All right, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.